Yo, welcome back YouTube to another video. This is my review for season 1 of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. So like I said in my first video about the series, I was not looking forward to this show like at all. The trailer didn't really sell me on the show too much, but this show is actually really good. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I said at the end of my first video, if you like Spider-Man in general, you will find something to enjoy about this show. The first 2 episodes were really good. I thought were pretty solid. Uh, the show, if I were to give the show a rating, 1 out of 10, I would definitely give the show an 8. And the main reason for that is sometimes the writing can be a little iffy. I believe it was episode 4, I believe. I'm sorry, I honestly can't remember. But it was the episode with the unicorn and her gang. There was some writing in that episode that I felt was off, but other than that, I think the writing for the most part is pretty decent. Even though I said I wasn't gonna take points off of the animation still looks kind of weird in some scenes. Especially some of the fight scenes. Definitely, there was a few frames during the second Scorpion rematch, where I felt like, I don't know, it looked a little weird. But let's get into the story, right? So, in this version of the Spider-Man story, Peter Parker obviously is the main character. He gets bitten by a not so much radioactive spider, which is pretty interesting, and we'll get more into that when I talk about the finale. But Peter Parker, I think this version of Peter Parker is one of the best versions of Peter Parker I've seen in a while. Like, I would say that, like, outside of like the live action portrayals, when it comes to the animated versions of Peter Parker, I think this is probably the second best one, right behind the Spectacular Spider-Man version of Peter. His interactions with other characters is always so genuine, so heartwarming. Like, you can tell that this is a kid that truly cares about other people. Not saying that other versions of Peter don't care about people. I mean, that's the whole reason why Peter does what he does. But it's just, I don't know. It's something, I guess, the way this show is written, because there is some good writing in this show. There really is. So I love Peter Parker in this show. His relationships, his best friend Nico. I still don't know who she is, like who her character is, like comic book wise. And honestly, I really don't care at the moment. I would like to I want to do some research so I can know a little bit more about her and to get a feel for her character. But I think I'm just gonna let the show just show me what it wants to show me, you know? So her being Peter Parker's best friend is different from other iterations of Spider-Man where, Harry Osborn is his best friend. But Harry is in this show and him and Peter do become friends. Um I love what they do with Nico and Harry's character in this season, where Nico has this insecurity. She has abandonment issues, and she lives with a foster family. And it's made clear that her mother, she had a relationship with her biological mother who is supposedly deceased, right? So that's why she's living with this foster family. So she has abandonment issues. And so when she finds out that Peter is Spider-Man, on top of the fact that he's always hanging out with Harry, she gets upset with him. And it felt natural. It sometimes when writers try to write conflict, it can feel forced. But this one didn't feel forced, and I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed her and Harry having like a whole episode where they're trying to get to know each other, even though Nico doesn't really like him, and Harry, Harry has a lot of fake friends. He feels like he doesn't have a lot of real friends because of his status. In this version, he is a influencer. His dad is Norman Osborn, one of the richest people in the world. So Harry doesn't feel like he can trust too many people because He feels like a lot of his friendships aren't genuine, unlike his friendship with Peter. And that's why he values Peter's friendship so much, because he knows that Peter is a genuine person. And so I like how the two of them try to really work everything out and try to get over the issues that they might have so that they can both keep their relationship with Peter, which I thought was really cool. Um, the villains in the show, I really like them. I thought the unicorn, I don't know much about her character, but I thought she was a pretty cool character. I like how they, was teasing the rhino also as well. In my episode when I my first video when I talked about episodes 1 and 2, I had no clue who Speed Demon was. I think I might have heard of his character, but I don't know anything about it, honestly. And Tarantula, now I have heard of her, but I don't know she has, like, in the comics, I think her claws are more organic. They're not like made of energy or whatever they were made of in the show. So uh the villains are pretty decent. I honestly thought that when we finally got the reveal of Otto Octavius, I thought that he would be the season 1 finale villain, but he's not. And honestly, I'm actually cool with that. I like the finale sets up a lot of stuff. I think the finale is very good. It's definitely one of the best episodes of the season. Um, I really enjoyed the cameos this season. Doctor Strange, I thought he was gonna just be in one episode, but no, he's in 2 episodes. Which the twist with that is actually really crazy, and I really, really like it. Daredevil was in an episode. Him and Peter got to fight. I believe that was episode. I want to say that was episode 4. It was either episode 4 or 5. It was called. Dang it, I forgot what it was called. Sorry, people. But anyway, really enjoyed his cameo in the show. Iron Man makes an appearance, which is not something I expected. I did not think that any Avengers would show up in this show. But Iron Man does make an appearance, and it's the same episode where Otto Octavius is outed by Norman Osborn. He gets arrested by the police because he's the one implying these criminals with these weapons that they're using. So that was pretty cool. I was not expecting that. Thunderbolt Ross is also in an episode too. And then there's a character that shows up in the finale that I did not expect to see at all. Well, I'll talk about that when I talk about the finale. I really want to talk about the finale, but let's talk about Scorpion Rising. Which I believe was episode 6. That was definitely one of the best episodes. Scorpion in this show is a very terrifying villain. I think the way they handled him was perfect. I love his beef with Spider-Man and his beef with Lonnie. Lonnie in this show is also very great. They're really setting him up to become Tombstone, especially in episode 9, where he gets where he starts to inhale that gas in the back of the Oscorp truck. In episode 6, Spider-Man gets his tail handed to him by the Scorpion. It was crazy. And then in episode 7, we see Peter recovering after the fight with Scorpion. Very, very good episode. The Scorpion was excellent this season. I really do hope we get to see him again, especially in season 2. Let's talk about Pearl. Pearl, again, a character I don't know anything about. For the most part, she's pretty cool. I don't have any problems with her. I like how her and Peter are now getting close again. She used to be his babysitter, but now she's, more of a friend now, and they're hanging out more, which is pretty cool. I don't have too many negatives about this show at all, really. I like all the little nods to the comics with Peter getting the different suits. I like how Harry Osborn is the person to give Peter his red and blue suit, the suit that he had been designing in his notebook. And Harry was like, yeah, I've got a few people here at Oscorp to put this together for you. Because in episode 6, when he gets his butt handed to him by the Scorpion, his Future Foundation suit gets destroyed. So something that happens at the end of episode 6, or was it the beginning of episode 7? I think it was the beginning of episode 7. We see the doctors at Oscorp take a sample of Peter's blood. Now, when I seen this, so many things went on in my head. I said, "Oh, are we gonna get the?" I'm not actually sure what it's called in the comics, but I think it's called like the Clone Saga. Basically, the story arc in the comics where Peter Parker gets cloned. I thought that that's where this could possibly be headed, but no, they take it in a different direction, which is so interesting. Um, Man, I really want to talk about the finale, so let's just talk about the finale. The finale was great. We got at the end of episode 9, Peter, along with Lonnie, who's been juiced up on this gas that was in the back of the Oscorp truck. They worked together to defeat Scorpion, which I thought was super cool. So in episode 9, we come to find out that all of the projects that the interns at Oscorp along with Peter have been working on, they were to build basically like I'm gonna use a Transformers term, basically to create a space bridge, where basically they could just teleport to anywhere they want to in space. And so Norman was like, and the interns were not okay with this at all, because they were like, okay, we didn't agree to sign up for this. Like, we came here to work on these projects. We didn't know that they were going to be used to create this space bridge. And Amadeus Cho, who he's a very stuck up character. I don't really care for the other interns as characters. They don't really do much in the story. But Amadeus Cho was like, man, I already knew what this is all going to be for anyway. Like, I'm too smart for you for you to think that I didn't know what this was going to be used for. So whatever. And so the interns are like, yeah, I don't know if we should really do this. And Norman's like, why not? Like, the Chitauri, they came down here and attacked. They came through a portal, referencing the first Avengers movie. He mentions Thor and the Bifrost, and he's like, why shouldn't we have something to allow us to travel through space, and we could learn and gain so many materials and learn so much from space? It's an infinite void. We could learn so much from it. And so before they activate the machine, Doctor Strange shows up, and he's like, yo, y'all gotta shut this down. I can't allow you to use this machine. And Peter's like, oh wait, you're the guy from Midtown High who fought that alien or whatever. And Osborn is like, oh, so you're him. And like, he kind of, the way Norman talks here in this scene, it's like he's trying to convince everybody else in the room to prove that Doctor Strange is a bad guy, which I thought was very interesting. Very interesting. So Doctor Strange is like, you have no idea what you're doing, trying to use this machine. It could lead to disaster. And Norman's like, yeah, I'm not listening to nothing you're saying. If anything, you're the bad guy. So he has his security attack Strange. Of course, that doesn't work or whatever. And then they turn on the machine. Well, the alien creature from episode 1 with the Venom symbiote, which I'm guessing it's just Venom itself. I was thinking that the creature was some alien that had fused with the Venom symbiote, but maybe the creature itself is just the Venom symbiote. I don't know for 100%. So the alien comes through the portal and it just starts attacking everybody. So Peter, he has his Spider-Man suit in his book bag. He puts his suit on, and him and Doctor Strange try to work together to take the Venom symbiote back to wherever it came from. So during the fight, Doctor Strange is trying to keep the Venom symbiote busy while Peter boots up the space bridge to push it back through space, right? So what ends up happening is Doctor Strange ends up like accidentally sending. Well, he opens up a portal to the Dark Dimension to send the Venom symbiote through. But Peter kind of has to knock him in there. And when he does, Peter ends up falling through it, which I thought was pretty cool. And then Strange opens up another portal so Peter can come back, but the Venom symbiote ends up coming back. And so while Strange and the Venom are fighting each other, he creates like this time wormhole thing, and they fall through it. And what ends up happening is that they go back in time to the very first episode. And so Strange fights we see Strange fight the Venom symbiote at Midtown High, and then we see Peter save Nico like we did in the very first episode. So Peter's getting his powers was a whole time loop, right? And so this is where I want to talk about what they do with Spider-Man's blood. So at the beginning of episode 7, they draw some of his blood. And so they've been testing the blood. And so what they did was they actually injected Peter's blood into an actual spider. I did not see that coming. So that same spider actually is the one that comes out of like the time wormhole and bites Peter. I thought that was so cool. The fact that the spider usually the spider is like radioactive, right? But the twist here is that Oscorp created the spider using Spider-Man's own blood before. It's so crazy how they did that. It's such a cool twist on Peter getting his powers. And I like how at the end of the episode, Peter and Strange, they talk about, Strange going back in time and what type of damage that could have caused to people, because of the timeline and the events that could have happened. And Peter's like, well, how I see things is like, if some things that are supposed to happen, they're going to happen, whether it makes sense or not, and I was like, wow, that's so interesting. But eventually Peter and Strange, they knock Venom back through the space bridge, and Peter is trying to like completely destroy the space bridge so it doesn't come back through. So it starts traveling back towards the space bridge so it can come back to Earth. Well, Peter finally destroys the space bridge, but when he does, a piece of the Venom symbiote makes it through the portal, obviously setting up the Black Suit storyline, the Venom storyline. And the episode ends with a lot of setups. So after the event of the space bridge being destroyed and the interns having some mistrust towards Norman Osborn, Nico makes the idea of Harry creating his own business and allowing the interns to, continue to do research, but without there being any trust issues there between, them and their boss. And so Harry and Peter are like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. So Harry sends out this invite to a bunch of different brilliant scientists. And we see some names on the board. Now, some of the names I recognize, some of them I don't, but I think Peter's name was on there. But another name I saw on there was Max Dillon. And if you don't know, Max Dillon is Electro from the comics. So that'll be very interesting to see. We see that Amadeus Cho, he decides to, not Amadeus Cho. Is his name Amadeus Cho? I forgot. I'm sorry. I'm very tired. He decides to stay at Oscorp. He gets a job at Oscorp. We see that Nico, of course, we find out she has magic powers earlier in the season, but we see her like doing this ritual so she can talk to her mom through like the necklace she wears. I think that's how that works. um, setting that up. We see not Norman. We see um, Otto Octavius in his jail cell, and he's like creating like designs for his tentacles that his iconic tentacles. We see Daredevil with his sidekick. Oh, what is his sidekick name? Blindside. The name is Blindside. Um, we see them like patrolling, and him saying that, we'll have to. I'm gonna need your help to break into somewhere, and she's like, "Yeah, it wouldn't be the first time I've broken into, a company for you or whatever." So we see the stuff being set up with Daredevil. And this is where we come to the most shocking cameo that I did not expect at all. I really enjoy what they're doing with this show. I'm so excited for season 2. And I'm pretty sure they've already confirmed that they're doing a season 3 as well. I'm very excited. Because towards the end of the finale, Aunt May says, "Okay, I'm going to go run errands. Call me if you need me." And she leaves the apartment, right? And this is the same scene where Nico comes up with the idea for Harry to come up with another business, right? So we see that she actually goes to prison to visit someone. Now, the person she's meeting is a man, and the two of them start talking. Now, because of the whole Peter got his powers from a spider that contained his blood, mutated blood, that made me think that, oh, what if Uncle Ben isn't dead but in prison? That's like, what if that's the twist, right? But no, it's not that. I'm glad it's not that. But I don't know. That was like the first thing that popped into my head. The person she is visiting is her brother, Richard Parker. And he asked her, "How is my son doing?" I was like, what? I was not expecting that. I don't know what they're about to do with Richard, but I'm excited. I'm very excited. And then we have Lonnie fully embracing being the leader of his gang. Because what was his name? Daryl? Like during the Scorpion rematch, like the Scorpions and the 110, I believe that's what they're called. I forgot what the gang is called. But they fight again, and Scorpion like gets on top of Daryl, and he's like threatening to kill him with his tail. And Daryl's like, yo, like you could see the look of terror in his eyes. As soon as he gets freed from Scorpion, he dips and just leaves his gang. And so Lonnie ends up taking it over, and we see that like he's fully embraced the life of being a gangster, because he throws his Letterman into the trash as he's looking for a new base for his crew. So this show is way better than I expected it to be. Like I said, I'm very excited for season 2 and season 3. If I were to rank this amongst like Spider-Man cartoons, I would put Spectacular Spider-Man, the Spider-Man cartoon from the 80s. Or did that come out in the 90s? I can't remember. I think it was the 90s, not the 80s. And then this, I would put this third. This is one of my favorite Spider-Man cartoons, animated series. Like this show is really good. In my opinion, nothing will top Spectacular Spider-Man. If this show does it somehow, I'll be surprised. I really would. But I mean, it could. It really could, especially because with Spectacular Spider-Man, it was an isolated show. It was just Peter by himself. But with this show, it really is like somewhat connected to the MCU, but not at all, because of the different things going on in it. I love how they keep referring to the Sokovia Accords. They talk about the Sokovia Accords more in this show than they have in the MCU since Captain America Civil War. It's actually kind of crazy. It just shows that they really dropped the ball on that whole storyline. There's a lot of stuff they dropped the ball on in the MCU, but that's not what this is about. So that is my review for Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. If like I said, if you like Spider-Man, watch it. You know what this show reminds me of? It reminds me of Transformers 1. The marketing was not the best, and it's like people didn't go see it or watch it. But Transformers 1 is one of the best Transformers movies I've seen. Like, it's up there with like the original animated cartoon from the 80s. Like, that junk was good. Very great storytelling. I don't know, the marketing made it seem so childish for some reason. But Transformers 1 was very good, and I feel like that was kind of the case for this show too. Like, the marketing wasn't really the best. It kind of made it seem like it was very childish too. But it's not. I mean, they got characters, they're not really cussing, but you know, they'll drop hell and damn in there every now and then. But yeah, it's a good show. If you like Spider-Man, watch it. If you like the MCU, watch it, because there's hints of like different events from the MCU is talked about, characters are referenced. I mean, we get to see Daredevil, freaking Iron Man cameo. I was not expecting. I really was not. It was really cool to see Iron Man in the show. So yeah, so those are my thoughts on Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Comment down below if you've watched the show. Tell me, do you like it? What are the things that you don't like about it? For me, it's not really too many things that I don't like about the show. It really is good. But yeah, this has been your boy Noah, and I'm out of here. Peace.